So obviously with a channel name like this, I'm a huge advocate for vinyl decals, and I also love making stickers. So when I heard about UV-DTF transfers, I was intrigued. So if you don't know what they are designs that are printed onto a sheet using a UV printer. Then they are usually laminated to make them easier to apply. They don't require any cutting around the design like stickers do, and they don't require any weeding like vinyl decals do either. They can just be peeled and stuck onto all sorts of items like metal, canvas, glass, wood, hard plastic, leather, and so much more. Previously, UV printers were used to print directly onto items, so it kind of limited how much you could do with them, but now they're on transfer sheets. It has made them a lot more versatile. They are not to be confused with DTF transfers, however. They are for pressing onto fabric. I don't have a UV printer myself, unfortunately, because they cost megabucks and I don't really have the room for it either. So I just bought a few transfers to test them out and let you know my thoughts, as well as the pros and cons, and also whether you should use those, vinyl decals or stickers. I got these free samples from Inkfuse UV-DTF, and then a cup wrap and a little Easter transfer from ES Vinyl and Craft. I'll link both in the description. And so the reason I'm comparing these to both stickers and decals is that they're obviously printed and multicolored like stickers are. However, they are applied kind of like decals are using transfer tape. So they are kind of somewhere in the middle of both, but also different. Stick around until the end to see if I'm ready to give up vinyl decals. So let's get started with trying to apply. So I'm just starting with one of the smaller Inkfuse designs, and I'm going to add it to a brand new flat acrylic bauble so it doesn't require any cleaning. Then I'm just cutting around the design. It doesn't need to be neat unless you want that to help you align it on the item. Then you just need to simply remove the backing paper. I say simply, it took me a little while to get it off there, but once I got an edge, it did peel really easily. Then just place it where you want it to go, squeegee, make sure there are no air bubbles, and remove the cover film. This cover film is super sticky around the design, so if you were to add this to something a bit more delicate or painted, for example, you may want to test that this won't damage it when you remove it. But otherwise, that is done, and you can see how clean and vibrant it looks. And so yes, it is very like a sticker. However, if you look at this other one I applied, those little hearts have been applied with no offset around them, which wouldn't be as easy with a sticker. So that is the beauty of UV-DTF transfers. Now let's try a cup wrap. So again, you can just peel off the backing straight away. No need to take time layering or weeding. I was losing some of the little designs here though, and then I realised I hadn't read the instructions. So I put it back on the paper and squeegeed the front and back first like I was supposed to, and then it all came off much easier. Then I went to line it up and realised that actually it needed trimming down, so I put it back on the paper again and just trimmed the blank space off the top and bottom. Much better. And so the instructions tell you to work from the middle and squeegee outwards, so that's what I did. I popped the paper back under this side just so that it didn't stick down without my say-so, and squeegeed and pressed the other side on. It went on really easily, as you can see. Repeated it on the other side, although there is a bit of a gap here. This may be because of my cup. It's from Primark, so I'm not sure if it's exactly the same as the ones you get from craft suppliers. Obviously, you would want to measure things properly before purchasing if you were thinking of selling these. Just gave it a bit more of a squeegee, then I peeled the cover tape off. This one wasn't quite as sticky as the other one, so it came off really easily. It looks so vibrant, I love it. I did realise I missed a few of the little bits, but they are actually so easy to line up because you can see the outline of the design on the cover film, so this didn't take me too long. It does say on the instruction sheet that once this is stuck down, it doesn't budge. However, that isn't quite true in this case. As you can see here, this diamond easily lifted up and could probably be repositioned if really needed. However, when I went back to them a couple of days later, they wouldn't move at all. So they obviously do stick fast once they have been left to cure, and I couldn't even lift it from the acrylic one at all. So for that reason, this option wouldn't really work for some of my customers who like to add my decals to mirrors or acrylic, but then remove them so that they can reuse the sign again. The cost. As mentioned previously, the cost of these printers is huge, exponentially more than just having a cutting machine and a printer. So I wouldn't say they are for people just starting out unless you have a lot of capital to play with. You can, however, upload your own designs to a company who sells UV-DTF sheets, and then you can use those to add to like cups or whatever to then sell on. Obviously, you would need commercial license for whatever design you use though. So just as an example, this 58 by 100 centimeter sheet from Inkfuse is £26. And so if I was to decide I'm going to use it for Libby glass wraps to add to cups to then sell, I'm just going to pick a design and see how many I can fit within that space. I think that's the right size for a 16-ounce glass. If I duplicate and leave a little bit of space in between, you could obviously do different designs as well, but it seems as if I can fit 20 designs in that area, so that works out as £1.30 per wrap. Definitely more expensive than if you were to use vinyl with the same amount of colours. However, you obviously save so much more time as you don't have to do the cutting and weeding of each layer. So to me that seems like a pretty good price, and that's literally the first place I looked. There may be other places that do better deals or where you can buy bigger sheets for like a cheaper price. This is of course only specifically comparing them for cup wraps in particular and for making items ahead of time. For me in my business, it definitely wouldn't make sense to do this. I sell single colour decals that don't require much weeding time, and so it is a lot cheaper for me to cut those out of vinyl and then send. Also, for things that are made to order and include personalisation details, the turnaround time might just be too long if you have to wait for the UV-DTF sheet to arrive, then apply, then send. In comparison to sticker sheets, it is probably going to be cheaper to make your own sticker sheets. However, again, it is just more time consuming. But in comparison to getting stickers pre-made from somewhere like Sticker Mule, let's see, if we were to do a 50 by 50 millimeter design and replicate, I know I could probably do this with maths, but I like the visual of doing it on Photoshop. So I can fit 160 stickers within that 58 by 100 centimeter area. But if you look at Sticker Mule, that would be £64 for the same amount of stickers. So the UV-DTF option is definitely something to consider if you already sell stickers individually. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to properly test the durability of these transfers in comparison to stickers and decals. However, according to the companies that sell them, they are water resistant. The instructions did say they can be used in a dishwasher, but won't necessarily last as long. They are scratch resistant. And the fact that they are UV printed hopefully means that they won't fade too quickly either. Permanent vinyl obviously lasts a long time as well and is technically water resistant. And then of course you can also get removable vinyl as well, which is great for things like wall decals. Then with stickers, especially inkjet printed ones, they could potentially fade a bit quicker than UV printed ones, and you do of course have to laminate them to make them waterproof. However, you can add holographic or glitter overlays just to make them a little bit more special. So my conclusion is that UV-DTF sheets are amazing. I am so impressed. If you have the resources and space to purchase a printer yourself and you want to add it as one of your business services, they do seem to be becoming a lot more popular as more people become aware of them. Or if you tend to make and sell things like cups or items that require layering, and or you make things ahead of time with no personalization, then buying printed gang sheets does also look like a very viable option. However, decals definitely still have their place for things like signs, wall decals, personalized items, and for people who are just starting out. And then stickers are similar, I think, especially if you already have all of the stuff to make your own. What do you think? Are UV-DTF transfers the future? Have you tried them out yet? Are you a fan? Let me know in the comments. Please give the video a like and follow for more content like this in future.